Hello guys, welcome to another video tutorial by Nocode Africa, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you something really cool, and that thing happens to be something that is closely related or directly related to a particular feature in FlutterFlow called active state. So I will be showing you how to use the active state inside FlutterFlow, right? So of course this tutorial is on FlutterFlow, and I need you to sign into your account, and then after that you will have access to your project, of course. And we're going to just go ahead and create a new project. I will just call this project active state. Okay, so now the idea about the active state scenario here is what I'm going to describe briefly very soon. So take for instance, this is a project, right? It's a mobile application currently published to run on the web. It's basically Nala's application, and here you have like two buttons, right? So this one shows achievements and this one shows activities. So now if I click here, right, you see that actually the contents here changes. We're not really going to focus on this scenario, right? I'm just going to show you how to use active state and then change the colors of a particular widget, or even make something to appear here, right? So it will just be a straightforward tutorial, so you will understand how to use it now. So I have put up some more like a table of contents to this tutorial. So we will create a button widget. We will just create a page first, right? We'll create a page first, then create a button widget, and also create a container as a button, right? Change field color based on an action, change font size, change border color. So this is just going to give you an idea of how to make some things in your application very dynamic. Okay, so meanwhile, if this already gets you excited, please just go ahead and click on the subscribe button and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up to this video. I am very sure it's gonna be really good for you. So let's go straight into it. It is going to be beginner friendly, right? And if I told you you didn't see what I did at first, I came here right? So this is flutterflow.io, and then I signed in, and then it brought me to the list of my projects. Then from there I clicked on create new, give my project a name, skip the Firebase setup, and then now I have this particular scenario. Okay, good. All right, so what I need us to do now is, this is a page. We won't do anything really serious, we won't try to make the page design so beautiful. We just want to focus on functionality. Okay, I know you like functionalities because you've already seen lots of videos on UI design. Okay, and moreover, if I told you have not seen, check the description under this video. You will see links to videos on UI, right? One of them is a food delivery application that I am still building, right? So you get to see how I get to handle the UI. All right, so how do we do this? Now this is your screen, and let's go to the widget tree. Then this is the scaffold. There's a column under the scaffold. What we need to quickly do right now is we will add a row. I want us to add a row here, and inside the row I want us to add a button, right? So let's just add a button here. Let's give it I'm not going to really handle lots of design, so I'm going to duplicate this other button, click on the row itself and center align it, right? And meanwhile, I like these new designs that are inside FlutterFlow. They get to change a lot of things. It's really cool. And I'm going to use another kind of alignment. Let's use this one. Yeah, it's okay. No, maybe this one. Yeah, this one is good. So let me click on the column and then center align this, so we have two buttons. So let's say now just like this, so we have achievement, we have exercise. I think we could focus on this, or any other thing we could use. So let's say active, inactive. Good. I am very creative today. So let's say active, and then this is going to be inactive. So let's say this particular screen is just going to show you your active maybe active jobs. Like let's say you're a remote worker, and so I don't know, this screen is just gonna show you, like when you click on active, it shows you a list of active jobs that you have, and then when you click on this, it shows you list of inactive. So that means maybe like past jobs. So let's quickly see what to do out of this. I'm going to add another let's say let me add a row, right? Yes, let's add a row. Inside the row, I'm going to add a text. This is gonna be the text. This is gonna say job job name. All right, so not really job name, let's just say well job name, or let's say yeah, job name works. And then job name, then let me give a padding to this. Let's say 20 or 20. Okay, so I think I'm gonna change the alignment of this row, and just to use something like this, and I will click on this and give it 20. Right, then here I can just give it 14 in between. All right, great. Then here I am going to go ahead and just give some padding at the top here. I'll say 20. Good stuff. So active job, so just say job name, and let's wrap this inside a list view. So let's wrap it inside a list view. So let's say list view, yeah. Okay, so now the only challenge with these is that okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and like wrap this inside a list view. Let's see, when we get to hit a challenge or a roadblock, we'll try to fix it. Let's put this in a list view, and inside this list view right now, we are just going to go ahead and well, the idea would have been to just like backend query, like run a backend query, but that is not going to be the case because this is not connected to Firebase. So very true. Now I have to change strategy. Let's go ahead and wrap these inside a container. Okay, so wrap this inside a container. Let's make this container 330, and I'm gonna clear the color of this container, or not. Maybe I can just give it some other color like this. Maybe not. Okay, so we have this, and I'm going to remove these the padding on the top here. So there's job name, right? So this is a container. Okay, great. So now I need to wrap these row now inside a column, right? So we can have this thing at the top like this. Great stuff. So true. Now I need that padding at the top back, and then I'm gonna click on this and say Ctrl D, and this is going to be, let's say, salary. So salary, let's say salary $1,000 per month, and then the job name here, let's just say it's going to be Nocode developer. Okay, so Nocode developer. Then here in the container itself, I can go ahead and then what am I gonna do to this container? Let me wrap this container in a row. I'm gonna wrap this container in a row, and then I'm gonna give that container a padding on the left and say 20. Great. And what else should I do here? Let's go ahead and give a padding to this row and say 20 from the top. Beautiful. Okay, so now I have this, right? I really have this. I would like to change the background of this guy to maybe something a bit darker. No, that's what I used at first. What can I use that is a bit darker? Use color. So something like this. Okay, yeah, it's pretty good. Then I will just go ahead and change the color to these, and then change the color to these as well. Great. All right, so I'm pretty smart here. So now we have a row that contains my active job. This is gonna be my active job. Okay, so let's make this a bit dramatic. So active should be green, right? So let's say green. Let's make this green, right? Let me see, would it be cool? No, I need a deeper green. Maybe this. That's not a deeper green. This one. Okay, yeah, this works. So this is a green. Then let's change this one to green as well. Let's change the fill color of this button to green, and inactive. Inactive should be like, should have like a faded color, right? So let's say okay, now I'm a bit worried there. So yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and then give this no, we want the fill color to be let's say secondary, something like this. So what exactly do we want to achieve right now? So I'm just thinking along, like I'm thinking along in this tutorial, right? So when we click on the active here, right, it should okay, so now we want them to switch colors. Good. We want them to just switch colors. So when you click on this, right, when you click on this, it will have this green color, and then it'll have this, like this will show, all right? And then when you click on this particular one, it will have a green color, right? So, well, the idea is just to switch the colors here. I don't know how you want to do it, but the idea is just to switch the color, and then the content here switches as well. Okay, so we are going to do some like serious things here, and the first thing we're going to do is, let's go ahead and duplicate this row. All right, I'm going to duplicate this row. So this one is going to be my old job, right? So the green here, okay, I think this was not really super proper, but I think it's okay. So active, inactive, let's change this. Okay, I am really going forward and backwards, I know, but let's use this as this. Okay, great. So blue and gray, like that, they will switch, and then this was just remains the same, but they won't appear at the same time. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how to make sure that they don't appear at the same time, and then the colors really do change. Great. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and then like set the first protocol, which is when I click on this button, right, I want this button to be this color blue, right? So but if this button was not clicked, I want it to have this other color. So how do we do that? Let's go ahead and do something called let's go to the active state, right? So here is not active state, app state. So this is where we have the app state, and here you can define variables you want to store on the device across different pages, right? So you can enable storage on device by clicking on the persistat, toggle, and all of that. So what we need to do now is we're going to add a variable, right? So the idea here is each user, like maybe one person might be clicking this, another person is clicking, like you get to see different things depending on what you're clicking, because it stores the reaction or the result of the variable changes inside the local state in your device. And so that's what we want to achieve here. So I will just go ahead and call this active, right? Let's just call this app state variable, right? So we're gonna call it active. So when it's active, this is how we're gonna use like what we're gonna use to make it happen. And then the variable type is gonna be Boolean, so it's gonna be true or false. So is it active? True. Is it not active? Of course, false. And then we can click on create, and that's it. And great. So then what we need to do again here is, I think technically we're almost done with the work. We just need to go ahead and then start doing their setup. How do you do it? Now we have to scroll down here and come to where we have the fill color. So we just want to change the fill color, right? So here, if you click on this and check the fill color, it's actually secondary text. So don't forget, right? So it's secondary text. So this is secondary text, and so, and then this one is just a regular primary color here. Okay, great. So what we want to do now is we come here and then we click on this small icon here. This icon will allow us to be able to change the color of the button, the fill color of the button, based on some variable. Okay, and so what we want to use is going to be what is from the app state, but we just can't click on app state and then click on active and say, okay, when it is active then do that. No. So what you basically have to do is you have to set some conditional values, some logic, right? So we will click on conditional value, and then we will go ahead and set some scenarios. So if something happens, then change this color to these, or otherwise, if that thing doesn't happen, then set it to this, right? So that's like the idea. It's just conditional, some logic. And so let's just get straight to it. And this same scenario, like what I'm about doing, is what you can do to border color and all of it. We will also try that and see how it works. Okay, so quickly, we have the scenario now. We just need to go ahead and set the condition. So the first condition, we'll click on set, and then of course you won't just come again to click on active and say, okay, if active, then put the color. It won't work. Okay, so you need to really set a condition. If active is what, right? If active is equals to true, then this. All right, so how do you do that? Let's click on this. Instead of coming here to select the active, right, you have to come here to conditions and then create a single condition. The first value of the condition, you click on it to choose the first value. The first value is now going to be the app state current state, right? So you say active, and then you click here to change and say, okay, yeah, you want it to be equal to, if active is going to be equal to a specific value, and of course here, since it's a boolean, it's either true or false. So then you go ahead and just click on confirm, and then so now you have the logic that says if active is equals to true, right? So basically equal is like the logical way of saying that two things are like the same in programming. So if active is equals to true, then what happens? We want the color to be this primary. Otherwise, if it is not active, that means it's false. Then we want it to be this secondary text, so this one, and then we confirm, and then we're good. So guys, I really don't want to make the video too long, so I'm gonna click on this and just click on this small button and copy the variable. Now I would have done the same thing here by just coming here and then clicking here and doing the setup just like we did, but I will rather just paste it, and then it's the same thing here. But now I would just go ahead and again change active and say let me just click here and go to the app state and say it's if the active state okay, no, not this. So I'm gonna click on this, and yeah, so I'm just gonna adjust this. So the first stage is the active, the first value is active, and it's equal to, that's fine. And we want to say this time around it's false. So if it is false, right, okay, so okay, so now I'm trying to put my thoughts together here. We can do it this way. Let's see, let me show you something. Now I have pasted the same thing that is happening here. All right, it's happening here on the active button. I have pasted here also on the inactive. So if someone actually does click on the inactive, it will turn all, you know, blue, right? And then the same thing with these, right? This is already naturally blue. Okay, so but now let's go ahead and just look at it. If I preview this, it won't really work, but I will need to like run it properly, right? So but let's just preview this and see how it looks like first of all as a UI. And I really want you to pay attention to what I'm doing here, because it will form some form of background to almost all your project in FlutterFlow. It will allow you to be able to you know, make some very beautiful things. So FlutterFlow is still trying to load up, and so before that loads up, then I show you what happens. Let me just explain some things again. So now we have given a condition for this button, right? So we have said that, okay, if the active state is actually true, right, so show this blue color. If it's not true, show the, what is it called, show the other color. Now we need something else. We need an action that will, you know, switch the active state on and off. That means make it true sometime and make it off sometime. How do we do that? We have to go ahead and add an action to this. So if we come here and then we click to add an action, we will be updating the app state. So you see here, we will update the app state. Click here to select the fields to update. So we want to just update the active app state. And you have to click on here to select the kind of update type. So I want to set a value. So when the user clicks on active, I want to set a value to true. Okay, that means I want this color to go boom, blue, right? And then when it is actually inactive, like when it's the the scenario here is inactive, then it should show this other color. Like that means if it's false. So we've done this particular part, and then just like we did in that one, we will have to do the same thing here. So if the user goes ahead and taps it, like taps this particular button, we want to update the app state. We want to say update the active app state, but this time around, of course, let's make it true again. Now when they click on it, we want them to of course this color to change, and of course for it to change it has to be true, right? Yes. So we will set a value and say true. But now look at what is going to happen. If the user clicks on active, it will turn active. If the user also clicks on this, it will turn active. So both of them will end up being blue. Let's look at it. All right, so let's run the application and see how it looks like. This is the preview mode that we did. It's not really going to give us what we need because it's not really like dynamic right now. So we will just run FlutterFlow for a very short time and then see how it goes. So this will take a couple of seconds to load up, then we can check it out. But while this is still trying to come up, right, I want to explain the logic again. Now the logic I'm explaining here is that now we have set some parameters to change the color, the fill color of this button, right? So we have said that if the active state is true, then make this blue. If it is not true, then make it gray. That's the secondary text. And then the same thing for this, exactly the same thing here. But so what we need now to do is like by default, right? I don't know. Let's go to active state and see. By default, it is false. Okay, so by default, the button is false. Yeah. So okay, persisted is false. Okay, fine. So we can actually get to click on this and say it's true, right? So we can click on this and say it's true, but by default it's false. So I think FlutterFlow has finished running the application, and let's try it. So now by default the two buttons are inactive, like they're of course the value of the active app state is actually false. So if we click on this now, it turns into this color. Beautiful. And then if I click on this now, okay, I think as at the time that I did run this, I didn't it didn't carry the details of this. Yeah, so let's click on this and see what happened. I said update app state and say true. Okay, yes. And then here on the fill color, oh guys, I didn't add the code to the fill color, so I didn't add the code, so let's add it here at once. Okay, so I've added it now, and so we have the fill color, right? So let's go ahead and just run it again. But what I was trying to explain is that when you click on it, now we cannot unselect this, right? So I will show you a couple of cool stuff. Like now, after you've turned this to true, it is always going to be true because you're clicking on it. You said that when I tap on it, I should make it true. So even if it was true, I tap on it again, still make it true. Now, how do we change that? We can change it by saying either, let's come back here to the action flow. This is it. Then let's click on here for the active scenario, right? We want to say that when the user taps on it, updates the app state. This is it. You update the app state, and what you should do next is you can go ahead and come to this untap part. Let's just copy the action here, come to untap. You know, there's untap here, there's on long press. So when the user double taps, we want to do something. Okay, so I think I can just delete this and paste this. So what I had copied, I just paste it here. Great. So now this is it. This is exactly what I copied from here. But now when the user taps it twice, all right, when the user taps it twice, I want it to change to false. Yes, I wanted it to change to false. So we can click here and say set the value to false. So when the user goes ahead to click on the button, the active button twice, I want you to change it to false. Okay, so that means take it back to gray, being gray. And then this particular one, let's come here and do the same thing. So we have this scenario here. Let's copy it, and let's come here to double tap and paste the action as well, and let's turn it to false. So now the same thing happens. Let me run this particular version of our application so that you can also see it. So for the one that just finished running, let's take a look at it. So this is a two inactive buttons, right? So when you click on active, both of them come alive. All right, now this is the weird problem, right? The weird problem that we are facing. So when I click on this, both of them, because we said that when you click on this, turn the active state to true, right? So now both of them are true, right? And that's why they all came alive. Okay, so we don't want what is happening here to actually happen. We want a different scenario entirely. I needed you to see the logic so that you can know how to switch it. So what do we do? How do we fix this scenario? What we need to do is we're going to have to come back to the app state and give another variable name and call it inactive. I believe you like what we're doing right now. So if you like what we're doing, please just click on the subscribe button and subscribe to this channel and give us a like as well. Thank you very much. You can drop questions if you have questions. So I'm creating another active state variable called inactive, and it's a boolean, and I click to create. Good. Now I will go ahead and come back here, and let's come here to the inactive part, right? We're gonna switch some things. Okay, so now what we're gonna say is that let's adjust the conditional statement here. Now this button is for inactive, so we will go to inactive. So I will click here and click on the first value, and I want to change this first value, so I click to just change it. So I'll come here and select inactive, confirm, and confirm. So now I'm saying that if the inactive variable, all right, is actually true, then show this color, and if not, show this one. So beautiful, right? Good stuff. So I can now go ahead and confirm. Now what happened before won't happen again. So now when we click on this, it will actually change to blue, and when we click on this, it will change to blue, and then they'll change separately. All right, but now there's something. There's a problem. Active and inactive should not show simultaneously. So, but let's go ahead and just run it first. I would like you to see the different state of these scenarios so that you can understand. All right, so I think this last one we did was we click on this and they would come alive, but if I double tap and they become false. Yeah, I was implementing the on tap, the double tap action. So if I click, they become blue. If I double tap, they become, you know, back to becoming gray. But now this is not what I want. I want it to be such that when I click on active, only active comes alive. I click on inactive, only inactive comes alive. And not just that alone. When I click on active, inactive has to be turned to false. And when I click on inactive, active has to turn to false. So that's like the idea, because that's how it should work. So while we are waiting for these to build, let's go ahead and then fix that scenario, and then we will come to the end of the tutorial. So what do we do now? Now we have two app state variables. We have the active and the inactive. Cool stuff. And what do we do now? We've given an action that says when the user clicks on taps, it updates to true, makes the active state true. When the user double taps, it turns the active state to false. Good stuff. Now let's go ahead and then do for this one. Let's edit the actions for these. We click on this. When the user on taps, like, you know, taps once, we want to change this from, no, this is not going to be active. We're going to say inactive. All right, so inactive, we will set the value of inactive to true. So when the user is tapping once, let's go ahead and just copy these now and come to on double tap, and just let's delete this first one and paste this particular one. So now if the user double taps, we want to change the inactive app state to false. Beautiful. Now we have just one last thing to do. not really one last thing. Then we have to determine how to make these things to show. So let's go ahead and say, when you click on active, right? When you click on active, when you click on active, we want you to simultaneously make this one to be false. Like, of course, when you click on the active button, it turns true. We want you to simultaneously make the inactive button to turn false. Yes. Okay, so because if you click on this active, and let me run it so you can see the different versions of what we are working on. So by this one, let me see what we were able to achieve with this particular one. So I click on this, it comes active. Beautiful. You see, now this is good. If I click on this, okay, this was not set yet. Okay, but if I click on this, it goes back. If I just click on this, okay, fine. So we are running the next one now. The next states that we have run is when you click on this, it comes alive. You click on this, it comes alive. Double tap, it goes, right? But now the thing is this, at some point, there's a situation where both of them can be selected. They can be both blue. We don't want that, right? Yeah, we don't want that. What we want is when this one is active, this one has to be inactive. So we will come to action and say, when I tap on it, all right, update the act state to be true, and click on this again, add another action and say, I want you to update the app state, but this is a different app state now, the inactive app state. All right, we want you to change it to false. Set the value to false, right? That's what we're doing. And I will just go ahead and then leave it like that. So when I tap, it changes the active app state to true, and then when I go ahead and it also changes the inactive states to false at the same time. And then this one is fine like this. It will just change it to true. So we're good. And then let's go ahead and then do the same thing for this particular button. So we will come here and we will say, let's add, no, not there. Let's add on tap. Add another action. The action is going to be update app state. We want to update the inactive app state. So when you tap on, oh, no. So here is the inactive app state. So this one is going to be active, sorry. Okay, so we will say active. So when you tap on the inactive button, right, it changes the inactive to true, so it comes blue. And when you go ahead and then simultaneously, right, it will change the active state to false, right? We don't want it to appear at the same time, so false. So this is it. So like this now, we have a cooler version of the scenario. So let's go ahead and see what we have here as a result of what we did before, not what we just finished. So if we click on this, it turns blue, and then we can also get blue. Now this is not what we want. We want it such that when you click on active, right, it should just be active that comes on board, and when you click on inactive, then inactive alone. So that's what we want, and that's what we're going to see here in this one that is loading. Now what do we do next? Just to wrap this up, we just want to go ahead and then work on the visibility of this. So let's make the visibility here. So this is my my old job. So this is my active job. Then my inactive job was let's say I was a business manager. So I was a business manager, and my salary was let's say it was let's say maybe smaller, so $500 per month. And okay, so what we could do quickly here is let's just change the colors here. I want you to be able to see the differences. So let's change this to maybe this, no, not that one. So let's change it to something a bit deeper, or even orange. Yes, good. Yeah, this is my former job, and then this is my new job. So I want us to now do something called let's set the conditional visibility. All right, so this tutorial was purely about app state, conditionals, and then of course now let's do conditional visibility. So when you click on active, we want something to happen, right, to this particular row. So let's come here to conditional visibility and turn it on, and then click on set, and we will set some conditions. So when you click on the scenario here, when you click on the active app state, we want this to show. So that means this should only show if the app state, you know, if app state is true. So but we can't just click and say if active, you know. No, it doesn't work that way. So we have to go ahead and then make it conditional, right? So we will say single conditions if the app state active is equal to our specific value. We say if it is true, then I want you to show this particular thing, right? That's the idea. This is the only time it should show. And then let's go ahead and then do the same thing for these. Let's come over here to conditional visibility and then click on this, add conditions, single conditions, click on this, add the first source of it, app state, we change it to inactive. So if inactive is specific value and it's actually true, so we will confirm this. So this is like the situation of things for us, all right? So if you go ahead and then click on this scenario, so you have all of this working out for you. Like this is just the scenario. Okay, so let's run this and then we end the tutorial. Okay, so this is what we had like the previous one. And so if I told you go ahead and click on this, it becomes active. You click on this, it becomes inactive. You see, so it switches it. This is what the action that I was really looking forward to implementing. So you click on active, it's like this. You click on this, so here I can actually untap and it goes away. So I can click on this, it comes here, I can, you know, like that. So let's see the last version of this so that we can just end the tutorial. Meanwhile, if you enjoyed what you've learned here, I want you to just give a thumbs up to this video and then like the tutorial. Of course, that's what a thumbs up means. You can check the description under this video for links to more tutorials, and I will actively start posting more videos so you can actually get to enjoy how to use FlutterFlow to build mobile and web applications without writing codes. I hope you enjoyed this video. We will just get to see the result of our final work here. So meanwhile, the app state is one of the most beautiful part of FlutterFlow because it makes things like really interesting. You can implement the same thing in other widget properties like the border color, the text, everything. I know I had mentioned that we were going to like do that for some of these, but I don't want to make this tutorial so long, so we're going to just go ahead and then make this like this. So we have here the active state and the inactive. So what we just need to do quickly is when you click on this particular button shows now, and it shows it's active. You click on this, it shows this particular one. So we have done like an amazing job here and it's beautiful. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and we will see you in the next tutorial. Thank you very much.